And welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and I'm joined by Mr. Robert Thomas Morphy II.
Heck yeah.
Unfortunately, Christopher is not here with us.
Sadly.
We have enabled...
He had a good run.
He did.
He had a great run.
He had it.
And he will be back.
He will be. I actually, on the way here, I saw him. I stopped to get our SD card, and he's just a little bit immobile at the moment. I believe he calls it Ram Man. So it's okay. He's doing good.
Yeah, he's got that Bigfoot, no neck fucking, torso.
Our buddy ain't moving too well. But regardless, we have enacted the Thunderdome protocols, which... I don't remember exactly what we're supposed to do.
I think one of us wears Chris. We're in the Thunder fucking.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Literally the Thunderdome.
But I was bringing Humongous into it, and he's not.
I think you were Tina Turner.
You're
no,
right.
It's not the Humongous. It's the big dude with the little dude.
With Master
on his,
Blaster.
Master Blaster.
Who run Crypto Town.
There you go.
That was awful.
It's just the worst ever, but that's all right.
I think Chris is listening to this, and he just fucking...
He wants to shake his head really bad, but he can't.
Poor bastard.
I know. Oh, feel better, buddy.
He just laughed in disappointment. So yeah. Also too, pod-wise, since it's just us here, we have like a Batman Vicky Vale vibe going on here. Remember in the Batman movie where him and Vicky Vale are on a date and they're across from the long table, and he's just like, "Can you pass the salt?"
Yeah, that was
it's
awkward.
Like way down there. Yeah, we're not that far apart.
No, we're not. What a good 6.5 feet.
Yeah,
7
feet. Without Chris being in the middle, it's weird to realize.
Honestly,
how far we
thought
are.
you were going to take Chris's seat and then we'd be like close buddies, but you decided no. I'm going to fucking just assume my regular station a million miles fucking away.
We're just in the next room,
and I can just see your nose above my laptop. So we're like strangers in the room.
I know. I have to actually look through the mic arm, and I can see you over there.
Fuck, dude.
So yeah, you got it. Me and Bobby hanging out, holding it down before we get started with our announcements and whatnots. We have some pre-announcements, Robert.
Oh shit.
Cryptonautmerch.com.
Yes.
Crowd-made exclusive merch. Check it out. Link in the description of this podcast. We got a super cool design up there from our buddy Mr. Todd Purse, the OG Loveland Frogman.
Indeed.
We got a cool mug that goes along with that. We got a long sleeve. We got a shirt for the ladies over there. We got a shirt for the kids.
Absolutely.
Dude, school's starting tomorrow, man.
Oh, and speaking of school, when you've got all those book covers, what do you want to put on them?
Stickers. We got a dope sticker sheet. Perfect for laptops, dude. If you're a kid and you're in college and you're like, yo, I'm going to rep my pop and I need some stickers, check out the sticker sheet. They're surprisingly large. They were larger than I thought they were going to be.
It's pretty dope, actually.
They're actually super big, so you can get all that. Cryptonautmerch.com. And as always, TeePublic is still available. Everything is still there. But all of our new stuff will be produced over at Cryptonautmerch.com, crowd-made exclusives. So there's all that. The next announcement, too, as some of you may have noticed, and we got some messages about this, is we do have ads running in the beginning and the end of the show. Now, these ads are from our host, Libsyn. It's who we host our podcast with, through a program with our advertising agency called AdvertiseCast. So you might hear a Tide commercial in the beginning. You might hear a Geico commercial in the end. They are totally through our hosts, and we obviously are like, yeah, no, go ahead, do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just because anything like this with advertising-wise, it comes back to the pod, and it helps the three of us out greatly to get advertisers on board.
And it's bookending. It's not going to interrupt the middle of the piece.
No. Anything in the middle of the pod, you're going to hear from us. Those are the ads that I'll be doing myself.
So at least they're intimate, in-house, in family, as it were.
Exactly. But anything in the front of the end, we obviously agreed to do it. We back it. We went for the cautious ads because we don't want to get too fucking nuts with the ads because that could be a whole thing. So
yeah.
But I mean, it's, I got a kick out of it. Actually, a buddy of mine was listening. He's like, you guys got a sponsorship with Geico? And I was like, we do? I was like, cool, I guess we do. So there it is. But thank you all that support us and our sponsors. But if you support us and our sponsors, it comes back to us, so we appreciate that. So speaking of supporting us, Patreon shoutouts, Robert. Let's do it.
Oh, my faves. Beginning with Dustin Devine.
Thank you, Dustin.
Joseph O'Kelly.
What up, Joseph?
That's a good Italian name. The totally describable, indescribable Octofrogman from Flatwoods with floating red pants. Holy shit.
You got your $1 or $5 worth.
Hell yes. Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you.
Steve Hidalgo.
Hell yeah, Steven, what up?
Hunter the Dumpster Goblin.
That's awesome.
Mothman's proctologist.
I mean, it's important, man. We're at that age.
Everybody.
You know?
And the Mothman might have been at that age a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
get checked.
Yeah,
it's safe. It's smart. A little prevention can save a lot of suffering.
I don't want to suffer from cancer, so by all means, check me out, man. I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You and the Mothman.
There it is.
Gene Artemis.
Oh, yeah, Gene.
Possibly Jean Artemis, if said patron is French. But let's just go with Gene for now.
Cool.
Mike Johnson. Private Eye. Tomboy Mandalorian.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
It's awesome.
It's fucking fun.
Yeah.
Lord Squatch.
Hell yeah, Lord Squatch.
Christopher Llewellyn.
Hell yeah, Christopher.
Stefania.
Oh, Stefania.
C.
Simply
one letter.
C.
Fucking Cookie Monster, eat the fuck out of that letter.
I love it.
And a cookie. Alan Parker.
Hell yeah, Alan Parker.
Exotic dancer by night, crime fighter by day.
Podcast patron 24/7, 365, hopefully. I see that there is one here that we missed, though, but I'm going to do it real quick because it's very easy and I can totally nail it. Fake name.
Oh, shit. How did I skip fake name?
Someone just signed up as fake name.
That's dope.
which I appreciate. Thank you for not trying to bamboozle us with your weird ice shit mice elf or whatever something about mothers performing fellatio on people they shouldn't or whatnot. Not that I'm against it, I'm just saying, but thank you all for not.
I mean, against people they shouldn't. That's the key phrase.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the name. There it is. All right, this week, Robert. Oh, I'm so stoked on this because you and I were talking about it.
And it's funny, you happened upon this independently, and you're like, dude, I was just reading about this case in fucking Kazakhstan, and I'm like, dude, you aren't going to believe what's about to happen next.
Dude, the fates and the gods aligned. We are talking about the Blue Behemoths, a Kazakh encounter.
Ooh, yeah.
In the dead of night, during the summer of 1947, in the midst of one of the most monumental flaps in UFO history, a young Kazakh herder was rounding up his livestock when he was blasted back by a mini-cyclone created by an impaired flying saucer. What happened next is not only one of the strangest close encounters on the books, but one that was very nearly lost to ufology.
Yes.
Nice. All right, man. We got mini-cyclones.
Gone with the wind.
We got ufology.
Mm-hmm.
We got Kazakh. We got livestock.
There's livestock. Yeah. No, you're getting it all. You're covering everything.
I'm nailing it. We got the midst. Did I do it right? Midst?
Midst.
Midst.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm getting close. All right.
It's easy to slip and say like the mist, but it's not the mist.
All right. Awesome. All right, Robert. Let's do this.
First off, epic shout-outs to Patrick Gross and his Olympian ufology archives. That's ufology with a G-I-E at the end, the French spelling.
Nice.
As well as, of course, Albert Rosales and his invaluable humanoid catalogs, both of whom helped make this episode possible with their extraordinary research. Now, as we're wont to do on occasion, it's time for a little contextual history.
Ooh, history lessons with Bobby.
I love it. 1947 was a banner year for ufology, one that began with a literal bang. On June 21st, Captain Harold Dahl was sailing in the Puget Sound near Maury Island when he and his crew claimed to have been attacked by 6 soaring donut-shaped objects, one of which began to spew a molten slag-like material that broke one of the sailors' arms and killed a dog aboard the ship.
Jesus Christ. That's a lot.
This case is a lot.
All right.
Though widely published at the time, this case involving Men in Black, the FBI, the JFK assassination, and the tragic death of 2 military pilots would get lost in the ufological shuffle, eventually becoming one of the most disturbing and controversial of its ilk. But we're going to save that one for later. Because this is a definite must-do, and it has been. It's considered by a lot of people a hoax, but I think there's really good reasons to think that it legitimately happened, and it gets so complex and convoluted and involves so many different aspects of not just the paranormal world, but the conspiracy world that, all right, we're going to table that shit now, because that's not what we're here to do.
No, we're not.
That's the Maury Island incident.
Coming back. We're coming back, baby. We're coming back.
3 days later, aviator and businessman Kenneth Arnold, you know what's coming next, while flying his private plane some 70 miles southeast of Maury Island near Mount Rainier on June 24th, 1947, claimed to have spied a series of 9 metallic crescent-shaped objects traveling at speeds of at least 1,200 miles per hour over the Cascade Mountains. This was destined to become the seminal sighting of the modern UFO era when a reporter covering this account used, but did not coin as is popularly misconstrued, the phrase flying saucer, forever embedding it in the nomenclature of pop culture. So it was used before, way back even in the 30s, but that's when it became, boom, part of the fucking lexicon. That's the second case. Then, just weeks later, on July 5th, 1947, came the big daddy of UFO encounters. The one on which, in many ways, the modern popularity of the whole phenomenon hinges. The legendary Roswell incident. If you are listening to this podcast, then you know the tale inside and out. But if by any chance you're just dipping your toe into the wonderful world of ufology, the gist is that a man by the name of W.W. Mac Brazel reported that unidentifiable debris, likely the result of a crash, was strewn across his remote ranch in Corona, New Mexico. Representatives of the Roswell Army Airfield investigated and collected materials, whereupon the unbelievable happened. On July 8, 1947, they released a statement claiming that the U.S. military had recovered a quote-unquote flying disc. They swiftly retracted the press release, claiming instead that the crashed object was a conventional weather balloon. But eyewitnesses, both civilian and military, insist that not only was an alien vehicle recovered that day, but its inhuman pilots, both dead and quite alive, were found at the scene. Thousands of hours of documentary footage and entire libraries have been dedicated to this crucial and contentious case. I almost don't even know if we're ever going to deal with this one. It's going to be 11 parts. Everyone else has done it. I'm even a little skeptical about it. I know it's going to fucking infuriate some people.
I know. It's one of those things like, yeah, we got to do it, but it's like, it's been done.
And it's sort of like, to me, it's still much more interesting, but it's only about 7.5 miles away from the grays and shit I'm sick of hearing about.
Yeah, no, same.
So,
we'll
see.
Maybe if we can find a fantastical angle that no one's ever really I don't know.
Oh, hell yeah.
That'd be one thing. But the 7-part academic breakdown, we might die.
Oh,
honestly.
Yeah.
we don't have our replacements in line yet.
I can't read all those books. I can't read 25 fucking books to do ones. All right.
It's all right. Moving on.
1947, between June and July, fucking epic. Fucking for ufology.
Totally.
Okay. But while at least 2 out of the 3 aforesaid events have garnered ufological celebrity status, and the polemic Maury Island incident is an up-and-comer, you scrappy little bastard, there is another virtually unknown encounter that occurred during the thick of America's mightiest UFO flap. But one of the main reasons this account took decades to reach the world at large was due to the fact that it took place behind the Iron Curtain in what was then the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic, one of the transcontinental constituent republics of the Soviet Union, which on December 10th, 1991 was rebranded the Republic of Kazakhstan after the fall of European communism. Heady days, early 90s.
Dude, and actually, speaking of Kazakhstan, we do pretty well in the iTunes charts over there. So what up, Kazakhstan listeners? Hell yeah.
Hey, enjoy this. And
hope y'all are, man, this is one from your own backyard, dude.
Yeah, local boy makes good.
Hell yeah. There it is. Thank you for all your support.
Though by 1947, the communist regime had been in power for just over a decade, the rural expanse of Behemoths, nestled in the centrally located Akmola region of Kazakhstan, had remained virtually unchanged, with the exception of being forced to join collectives. That is to say, independent farmers had to join communist collectives where they all worked, that whole forced socialism. I like a lot of socialistic policies, but forced socialism is a nightmare. With farmers going about their daily business of harvesting crops and tending to the livestock. It would be in this remote agrarian area in late June of 1947 that one of the most phenomenal close encounters of that already portentous summer took place. Just before midnight on the evening in question, an 18-year-old herdsman named Alexei Romanovich Badnya was on his horse Serko. I love that we know the horse's name.
Awesome name, Serko. I love it.
grazing some bulls and horses in an isolated pasture outside Behemoths, when, without warning, a circular patch of light hit the ground in the field before him. The young man's confusion instantly transformed into terror as a micro-tornado abruptly erupted in the center of the brightly lit circle. The animals scattered in a panic as Alexei's horse reared back, stunned by this spontaneous cyclone. Suddenly, the noise of the whipping wind was overcome by the deafening sound of metallic knocks emanating from above. Alexei's eyes followed the vortex skyward, and he was astonished to see that the maelstrom was being formed at the base of a massive discoidal object that looked to be over 80 feet in diameter.
I mean, it's bad enough that you got like a mini NATO.
Yeah.
But then you look up, you're like, flying metal thing.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus
shit.
Christ. I
Not a
know.
good day.
You know, you're out there, it's late, you know, you're tending the shit, it's all good, you're worried about wolves and fucking maybe whatever the fuck else is out there. And then you get the beam, the fucking tornado, and it leads to an 80 fucking foot.
Not small.
No.
No, pretty big, actually.
All right.
It's like, well, this is going to be a day.
This will be a day.
Like, God damn it.
Or night, as the case may be.
Yeah.
In what would soon become a common Hollywood trope, the teenager claimed that the self-illuminated object resembled, quote, two deep saucers joined together with a transparent dome on top, end quote. Alexei noted that the skin of the disc was silvery and polished to a mirror-like sheen that reflected the swirling grass beneath it, and that it had four prop-like landing legs protruding from its base that were telescoping up and down at regular intervals. Just fucking everything's going honky-wonky, worky-jerky.
It's just all male. Like, all right, guys, get it together. Come on.
He
Jesus
also
Christ.
noticed a large cylindrical nozzle-like protrusion that extended approximately 16 feet from the bottom of the craft that had a luminous rotating flame-like light visible inside of it. Not necessarily a flame.
Okay.
We're not saying that this is combustion-based transportation, but it gave off a reddish yellow light. So
All right, so we got the classic UFO
with
here.
a that's hung apparently. It's got the 16-foot lighted nozzle dangling down and these fucking oscillating telescoping legs. I know, it's a rave. It's going to get even more ravey in a second.
Nice.
It was then that the drover realized that the flying machine was wobbling in the air. According to Patrick Gross, quote, the disc seemed to be unstable as if its flight control mechanism had been damaged and unable to maintain a horizontal position, end quote. Alexei braced himself, convinced that the flying saucer was about to crash before his eyes. But, seemingly against all odds, the occupants of the aerial transport managed to overcome their mechanical difficulties and stabilize the craft. Once steady, blinding searchlights popped on as the saucer touched down right in front of the squinting Alexei. So now I got the light show too.
There you go.
The teen could only stare in awe when, within a few seconds of landing, a circular hatch opened and a ladder descended from the base of the disc. The moment the rounded aperture unsealed, Alexei claimed that he could hear the sounds of, quote, metal clacking from the inside of the vehicle. The herder silently slid off his faithful steed and led him behind some shrubs in order to watch what was happening without being spotted by the obviously alien interlopers. As soon as the ladder touched the ground, 3 hulking humanoid figures descended to the earth. The first 2 stood nearly 10 feet tall.
Oh, Jesus.
And to Alexei's eye, they looked almost like twins. He noted that the masculine beings had unnervingly elongated faces with high foreheads, long noses, thin lips, and large eyes that seemed much rounder than those of their human counterparts.
That sounds like a Ren and Stimpy drawing.
It does.
Like, yeah, all right.
It also vaguely reminds me, and I know I've made this reference many times, to the final face in the original end credits, I think, to the original Star Trek, that blue dome-headed creature with the big round eyes and the long features.
Yeah.
Used to haunt the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the person in Edward Munch's The Scream a little bit, but probably just because they were bald and scared me.
Right.
Anyway, that's kind of the vague impression I got. So, their skin was an ethereal bluish gray, and they were clad head to toe in skin-tight overalls made of a reflective silver material that covered everything but their faces. The likely panicky drover then noticed that the colossal creatures all had some kind of, quote, sophisticated device suspended on their chest area, end quote. Reminds me a little of Varenish.
A little bit, yeah. Smidgen, big.
In fact, remind me to go back to Varenish a little bit later.
Cool.
And not only because of the Russian connection, but, well, we'll discuss it in a bit. The third entity to descend the ladder resembled the first two. The same skin color, the same round eyes, but with some decided differences. The first and most notable being that while the other two figures were huge by human standards, this man was positively mastodonic, standing at a height of over 13 feet.
Well, no wonder they need an 80-foot ship. Jesus.
I want to see a tag team match, like a three-way, maybe between the Varenish, the Belo Horizonte Cyclops.
Oh yeah,
and that were also wicked tall.
Yeah, and these dudes
and these fucking blue behemoths, man. That the WWE in fucking outer space were. Better yet, like the NWA or fucking whatever was the good shit back in the day. That would be fun.
This would be a dope ladder match.
Intergalactic wrestling. Why don't we get Space Cable? Come on, Rick and Morty. Okay, 13 fucking feet. This broad-shouldered giant looked older than his comrades. He was clad in the same overalls as the smaller beings, but with what seemed to be a kind of apron over it and a light that was set in his thorax, so just the chest area. The second key difference was that he had brown hair jutting out from under his head covering and a bushy, thick mass of dense brown beard that cascaded over his barrel-like chest. So he's this big old fucking young Santa-looking monster.
Blue. All right, cool. 13-foot blue dude with a big old beard. There you go.
As the supergiant, who Alexei straightaway recognized to be the leader of the crew, barked orders at his subordinates, Alexei could see that he had, quote-unquote, even white teeth. So that's good.
He's got better teeth than I do.
Dental hygiene.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the younger beings, clearly upset by their predicament of being stuck on a primitive planet with a broken spaceship, began mumbling and crying.
Aww.
But the bearded behemoth would have none of it. He shouted at his adjunct in an almighty voice, and even though Alexei could not understand a word of what he was saying, the meaning was clear. Get your shit together.
I'm on a cosmic level. We all know that.
Yeah. Like, you don't need to know a word.
No,
you just know.
Cosmically, throughout the universe, there's some mannerisms and some tones. You're like, y'all got to get your shit together.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Lecture is the universal language.
Exactly.
Love, that's secondary.
Yep.
The chastened crew member quickly quieted and joined his partner in making repairs to the saucer. The teen's attention was abruptly grabbed by a, quote, melodic vibrating sound, end quote. When he glanced up, he could see that its source was the transparent dome atop of the craft being automatically lifted. Alexei noticed that it appeared to be made out of a very strong, crystalline material that he could not identify, and he assumed that they were raising it in order to initiate the repair procedure. At this point, the leader spoke into an instrument that resembled a microphone, which was evidently attached to the monolithic vessel. The responding voice struck Alexei as being decidedly feminine, but he could not confirm this supposition as the fourth member of the crew remained on board the vehicle for the duration of the event. Concealed by the bush, Alexei watched in wonder as the giant stood between his underlings while they toiled away at the damaged machine. It's likely that his fear was beginning to slip away as he was growing used to the fact that the human race was not alone in the universe. Maybe he even imagined what might happen if he made first contact with this alien species. Whatever he was thinking, there is one thing that's for sure. He was not prepared for what happened next. Without warning, Serco emitted an ear-splitting snort and stepped out of the cover of the shrubs.
Fuck, God damn it. Serco?
Always got to be the horse.
Always a goddamn horse.
Alexei froze, petrified with fear. The aliens immediately stopped what they were doing, aimed an unseen instrument, and shot a greenish beam of light in the youth's direction.
Oh, I got beam weapons. All right.
Giving him the distinct impression that he'd been photographed. Which may be just the best guess he can have. He might have been full body DNA scanned. He might have been fucking who the fuck knows what.
Torn apart.
Vaccinated.
Torn apart on a molecular level.
And then rebuilt better than before. Or not.
Yeah.
Who knows? Realizing that the jig was up, Alexei stepped out of the shadows, grabbed his horse's reins, and stared up at the gargantuan humanoids. For their part, the blue beings seemed both curious and amused by the presence of these strange, tiny creatures. It was then that the leader looked directly into Alexi's eyes with his own lightly hued orbs, and, in a telepathic voice, began speaking. It's not clear if the being communicated to Alexei in his own language or if the thought transference required no literal translation, but either way the teenager was able to understand every word. The giant admonished the young man for hiding rather than greeting them like guests to his homeworld.
Oh boy, here we go.
But despite the sternness of his silent voice, Alexei could see that his eyes belayed a quote, kindness and understanding, end quote. Despite his fear, Alexei, who was no stranger to hardships, was ashamed by his rude behavior and immediately said, I invite you to eat. You must be hungry. I know what hunger is from my childhood.
Oh, Jesus, all right.
Impressed by his host's sudden change of demeanor, the immense being responded, I see. You are small but brave. The leader then informed Alexei that the reason that they had landed was because their ship had been struck by lightning, which damaged their flight control mechanism. He then pointed to his horse and asked, who's that? I love that. Not what's that. Everything is sentient. Everything's equal.
Who is your friend?
Yeah.
Please introduce us to your four-legged friend. Who's neigh?
To which the proud herdsman responded, that's my horse, Circo. The alien's bombastic demeanor then diminished ever so slightly as he told Alexei that he was afraid of horses and asked if it could stay behind so he could speak to him alone.
How is the guy afraid of horses?
I don't fucking know.
He's like, he's a horse. He's afraid of horses. He sees a horse. He's like, who is this? Oh, that's a horse. I'm afraid. Weird.
That's odd.
That's weird. All right.
Yeah,
Weird.
Maybe it was just how that was written. Maybe it was just like, all right, sir, I'm kind of afraid of this thing.
Okay.
Maybe
all
it
right.
looks like something dangerous from a planet they've been to before.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Compared to like a Wolverine, we're gigantic, but
Right.
we're not going to go fucking around.
No.
You know,
No.
so for all he knows, Circo is a fucking death machine.
Circle.
And for all we know, he might be right.
He could be. He could be a death machine. Indeed.
But it's like, hey, can your buddy stay over here? Let's go chat. Obligingly, Alexei tied Circo's rope to a nearby branch, whereupon the monumental man lifted him off of the ground, carried him over to the saucer, and sat him on the rim of the craft, like a little tiny toddler. Alexei was so close to the creature that he could hear his heart beating in his chest.
That's a big heart.
That's like, I guess, a little kid with a dad, but it's weird when you're a young adult and a big blue alien.
It is weird.
As the leader began to speak, the youth suddenly noticed a predator skulking near the edge of the illuminated area and excitedly exclaimed, "Look, a wolf."
Oh, boy.
Without missing a beat, the giant raised his hand and fired, quote, some kind of thunderous beam that killed the wolf instantly.
Just smoked the wolf.
Just like, look, a wolf. Fuck that thing. But he's afraid of a fucking horse.
Yeah, I did. I mean, the poor wolf. Just just little wolf paws left, just smoke coming out of him.
Can you see it like four paws and tendrils
just
of
burnt.
wafting
You're like,
smoke?
oh damn! All right, well.
Oh shit!
All right.
And you hear a little squeal.
Oh God! All right.
Oh yeah. Likely astounded by this sudden burst of violence, Alexei decided to move off subject and asked the leader where he was from. The bearded, blue-skinned being merely pointed skyward and said, "From there."
Their very distinct location of where they come from. Perfect.
Yes. Not wanting to waste this likely once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to pick the brains of interstellar adventurers, Alexei then brought out the big guns and asked point blank, "Is there a God?"
All right. I mean, yeah, dude. If you're there, you're like, all right. Ask the big questions.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
who else are you going to ask?
Yeah, these guys.
To which the leader answered noncommittally, "A God? Maybe."
they're agnostic. No, it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man. It's really your personal choice, bud. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not here to tell you. Hey, we're not missionaries, all right?
listen. We're not here trying to preach, all right?
We're on vacation.
Find your own way, friend.
The giant then asked Alexei what he was doing in such a remote area all alone. Well, that sounds a lot like a predator question.
Sure does.
He explained that it was his job to make sure that the bulls and horses were well fed. It was then that the curious teen decided to take a chance and asked if he might be able to take a look inside the craft. Surprisingly, the leader agreed to let the diminutive earthling in for a tour.
Cool.
Alexei and the Blue Behemoth climbed up the ladder and into the underside of the craft, emerging into a long corridor with towering ceilings and frame-like walls. That last part is a quote. It's not explained what that means. All I could think is maybe you just see the outline of it, like it's like the body of a wall, but like clear panels or open spaces. I'm not sure. The inquisitive young man marveled at the epic space, but he only managed to walk a few feet into the vessel before he was suddenly overwhelmed by a blast of intense heat followed by a wave of nausea. Realizing that something was amiss, the leader telepathically told the teen to come here. Alexei stumbled backwards, collapsing into the giant's tree-trunk arms, whereupon he immediately blacked out.
I got too close to the core, brother.
Too close.
Dude, humans can't do it. Like the Black Sphere, man. Humans can't handle that. That much power? Nah, dude.
Not alien tech.
Nah, it's not good, man.
Yeah.
It's not good for our bones and DNA.
No.
It tends to cause cancer. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
And fucking, nausea and fucking unconsciousness.
There you go.
Another super magnet strikes again.
Oh, god damn these magnets. How do they work?
When Alexei awoke, it took him a moment to gather his bearings. He looked up and realized that the leader had placed him on the ground, not far from where the twins were repairing the UFO. Whether unable or unwilling to move, the herders spent the remainder of the night sitting on the grass watching the creatures work. As the aliens removed pieces of the hull, Alexei could see that the, quote, inner structure of the craft appeared to be very complicated and filled with sophisticated equipment.
I mean, yeah. You know?
I mean, assuming it's going through dimensions / the cosmos.
Yeah, as a guy that tears apart ship pumps for a living, like this would be awesome. I'd be like, dude, let me see. What, you guys got impellers in here? What's going on?
I mean, one of the things that always blew my mind, I'm actually a guy who's inclined to believe a lot of what Bob Lazar has told, and a lot of it has ended up paying off in the end, and he seems to have suffered a lot. And if he is a whistleblower that was paid by the government to be a whistleblower, then he still had to suffer and go through loads of shit to be that guy.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it always blew my mind because everyone I know is into science. I'm into science. I'm just not good at fucking math, physics, or science. But everyone I know is into it, like passionately wants to know more. How do you blow a chance to work with these incredible technologies, even though you're compartmentalized as fuck and you can't really move on? Like, how do you blow that opportunity just because you want to fucking tell people that it's real?
I mean, the dude before Lazard blew up because he took a torch.
My God.
Into a part of the ship, and it blew up on him. Allegedly, according to
everything's
Lazard.
Allegedly, yes, of course.
Yeah, man. All right, well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, man. Inner structure. I want to see how it works. I mean, you got any gear drives in there? What's going on? What's happening?
You'd want to peek. You want to know.
Yeah, dude.
I'd be fascinated and terrified.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Despite the leader's once friendly demeanor, none of the long-faced creatures addressed Alexei again, and he had no idea what had happened to him inside the saucer.
It's not good. Like, we just gave this guy a bunch of cancer.
Save for the fact that he was, for some reason, convinced that they had implanted a device inside of him after he lost consciousness.
Oh.
That was long before implants were a thing. But then again, we have to also recall that the story didn't come out until much later.
Right.
Why he thought this was not reported, but perhaps that was part of their plan all along.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I can't help. I'm always a guy who's looking at the sinister side sometimes, maybe a little bit cynical. I want to think positive thoughts, but maybe they were trying to tempt him in there so they could gas him. Maybe not even for nefarious reasons, but
it seems like it'd be easier to do outside.
Well, I mean,
you can literally vaporize a wolf.
You're right.
They
certainly could have just made him go in there.
You're scared of a horse,
so maybe it was an accident. But once he was unconscious, maybe they took full advantage of it.
They're like, "Oh, dude, the little tiny guy just passed out because he got too close to the course. Sorry.
Yeah, let's tag him.
Yeah, may as well. Hey, guys, you know what? We're here. Why not?
Yeah, what the hell?
There you
We're not going anywhere.
you assholes are taking too long getting the flux capacitor going. Yeah, that's right. I made a flux capacitor reference. I don't care if it is Back to the Future.
After their long night of toil, the prodigious beings re-entered the craft, but not before, intentionally or not, leaving behind a small cross-shaped fragment of metal. Nice, Rob. As soon as the giants clambered inside their 80-foot craft, the vehicle began to rise up off of the ground, and the telescoping legs retracted. Alexei scurried for cover as he watched the vessel soar into the sky and vanish in mere seconds, leaving behind deep marks in the soil, which indicated that a heavy object had come to rest in the pasture. The moment the disc disappeared, Alexei rushed over and scooped up the metallic artifact.
Nice.
Smart move. Was it waste material, a mislaid tool, or a gift from his unexpected guests? The team could only speculate. Then, for reasons unknown, the herdsman, like Pierre Semfreda would do years later with his own alien artifact, buried the object at the edge of the grazing field.
Don't ever bury it, dude. Keep it, man.
Why do so many contactees / abductees that are not of the typical gray ilk, but of the, the prophet fucking interactive, weird fucking, branch of ufology, they're given fucking these proof positives that aliens exist, allegedly, and they constantly conceal them.
Worst case, it's a multi-tool.
Yeah.
They left one of their tools.
It's a fucking Allen wrench or something.
Yeah, exactly,
Who knows?
dude. It's an Allen wrench and a hammer and a drill and all kinds of things all at once, man. It's dope, but it's like this little tiny thing.
Or it's just a little slag left behind, or who the fuck knows what, but it's proof of something.
But keep it with you. Put it on a, chain or something. Wear it on your neck.
The only one that ever did right by fucking an alien gift was fucking Johnny Pancakes, who fucking took the time to eat the cardboard pancake.
Ate the pancakes, that's right.
And fucking sent one to science. You get alien pancakes, you eat one, you send one to science.
There you go.
That is the fucking way it ought to be done.
And now, no, this guy's burying it.
And all these other motherfuckers, they don't know how to treat the darn evidence.
They don't. They don't.
It's frustrating.
They never do.
It is. He claimed to have had the intention of returning for it at a later date. Unfortunately, that day would never come.
Jesus H.
I know it. Alexei, more than exhausted by his incredible, awe-inspiring, adrenaline-pumping, illness-inducing encounter, realized that he still had a job to do and dutifully gathered his dispersed animals and returned to the collective. Once there, the teenager immediately began telling the other farmers what he had experienced and even convinced some of them to accompany him back to the scene of the encounter the following day. Sorry, my voice is giving out. I don't know why. Though likely skeptical, the men could not deny the proof before their eyes. Something of tremendous size and weight had left a clear impression in the ground. The farmers were both fascinated and frightened by the sight before them, not only because of the implications of intergalactic visitors, but also likely due to the fact that the rural agrarians wanted to do everything in their power to not bring down on themselves the attentions of the Supreme Soviet of the Kazakh SSR, also known as the Supreme Council.
That definitely sounds like it's not good. Yeah, I guess you kind of don't want to make too much of a fuss because you're like, we don't want the Supreme Council showing up. So let's just look at this and be intrigued, but be like, keep that shit on the down low.
That is Cold War as fuck.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, because technically I think the Cold War started in March of 1947. So it's like right around that time. And so here's the thing. If it's a military project that accidentally landed and you admit you saw it, fuck your village.
You're screwed.
You're all expendable. Everyone's expendable.
You're all going to the gulag, dude.
In this fucking culture. So I don't know for a fact that was one of their motivating factors to tell them to shut the F up, but I would not be surprised.
It's a smart move on their part to be like, don't cause any unwanted attention.
The elders in the community warned Alexei not to breathe a word of what he had seen, threatening that there would be consequences if he broke his silence. Protect one, protect them all.
There you go.
True to his word, Alexei kept quiet about his extraordinary encounter. As the decades slipped by, perhaps he even began to wonder if his experience had been a wild fever dream. Maybe he got sick while tending his flock and simply hallucinated the whole thing. Or perhaps he never for 1 second doubted his extraordinary experience. Either way, at some point, Alexei left Kazakhstan and moved thousands of miles to the east, settling in the hamlet of Molodezhny in Crimea. If perchance he had begun to doubt his memory, all of that would change when in 1990, a then 71-year-old Alexei resumed contact with the Blue Behemoths.
Holy shit, they came back. All right,
They're
cool.
always promising to come back
big.
and
This is
so
huge.
rarely show up.
All right, this is huge.
The senior citizen claimed that he was sitting down and enjoying a cup of tea when he was lambasted with the same greenish light that had hit him as a teenager in Behemoths.
Dude, the rave is back, dude.
Though he was evidently unsure where the beam had come from, he believed that the burst triggered the device that had been implanted in him years earlier, and that it enabled him to resume his telepathic contact with the space giants. Having become more seasoned and experienced in the decades that had elapsed, Alexei was not going to waste this opportunity to find out all he could about the mysterious ufonauts. After a barrage of questions, including where it was that they came from and what they ate, the alien voice inside his head told Alexei that their homeworld was sterile and barren, and that they now lived in a colony on Earth's moon that was covered by an immense transparent glass dome, which evidently protected them from the harsh cosmic rays and the vacuum of space.
They had a lot happened since the last time I talked to Alexei.
Or they could have been on the moon already, for all we know.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they could have been on the moon longer than fucking United States exists, longer than maybe civilized, humans have existed. Or they could have literally been just dicking around through the cosmos. This ship happened to crash there. They thought, oh, it's kind of breathable and we can, get some resources from here. Let's build a base on their moon because they barely know how to get up there and they can never even see the dark side.
Yep. We're going to hide on the other side. They'll never even see us.
It's hard to know what their motivations were. But yeah, no, they could literally be, well, they're not occupants of the hollow moon. That's clearly reptilians.
Yep. And
they are going to keep those fuckers on the surface. They might be fucking 13 feet to 10 feet tall, but you still got to know your role.
I think
you're a dome dweller. I'm an inner moon kind of fucking
I think the
reptile.
blue behemoths could definitely take a reptilian.
Yeah,
sure.
but, and you might be right. I mean, that might be mammal bias on your part, but I'll let that slide. But if there's say, I don't know, 100 million reptilians in the moon and there's like 10,000 blue behemoths in the dome.
Gotta have numbers. If Game of Thrones taught us nothing.
Numbers. Also technology. We don't know where they're at, in terms of technology. They might have green flashy things, but they might not have the weapons of mass destruction.
Gotta have dragons until the Night King has the other dragon. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched that, sorry.
I haven't, but it's okay.
Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. So... we don't know what's going on, but I will say this. The voice further explained that they were all vegetarians.
Oh, well, good. All right. That's awesome.
When Alexei pressed the voice to reveal the location or name of their home planet, it refused and grew cold, expressing an undisguised contempt toward the human race.
Oh, no.
That's a switch in tone.
This is where it all comes to an end.
What the origin of this malice may have been was not disclosed, but it's not difficult to surmise that our collective behavior toward one another, not to mention the mass slaughter of animals for food, might not have sat too well with these vast vegetarian visitors.
Oh, they're pissed off vegans, aren't they?
It could be.
I get it, but, hey, to each his own, man. We all got to do our tiny little part. Just have a little bit of love in your heart. Oh.
That having been said... This kind of condescension is rich, coming from a species that would blast a wolf to smithereens just for standing there.
And be afraid of a horse, but not fucking know what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's this? Circo. She's gorgeous. Your wife is lovely.
Scared of horses. That's a horse? My God, ma'am. I'm scared of, my God, sir. I'm scared of horses.
Wolf, fuck it.
Is that a wolf? Fuck you. See you
Grizzly,
later.
Don't give a fuck. Get that goddamn hay eater away from me right now. The telepathic voice, as is so often the case in alleged human-alien interactions, went on to foretell great calamities that would affect humanity in the future.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Here we
get
go.
out the violin.
Yeah, let's
Here
get
it comes
preachy.
again.
Earth. Here we go.
What these disasters were, or are, destined to be, also went unrecorded.
Of course, why not?
But maybe that's for the best. Perhaps distressed by these predictions of catastrophes to come, Alexei asked the voice why its species did not openly contact humanity, to which it simply replied, "Why don't humans contact those in an insane asylum?" Dick.
Wow.
I mean, fair enough.
All right. What? These fucking highfalutin aliens.
They really are.
Damn it, we're like 1% aliens over here.
Unfortunately, Alexei's account ends there. This report, which languished for decades behind the Iron Curtain and even longer in post-communist Europe, was revealed to the Western world in 2009 by ufologist, researcher, and author Albert Rosales, who received the report from ufologist Anton Anfilov, who supplied Rosales with reports from Eastern nations. Anfilov based his report on the work of Yuri Pugachev and A.S. Kuzovkin. Pugachev seems to be a mystery man. He's not Googleable in any way, which, I mean, that's the extent of what I did. But thanks to the diligent research of Patrick Gross, we know that Kuzovkin was, quote, a UFO witness in 1964 who became interested in the issue. and apparently wrote UFO articles for the popular magazine Vokrug Sveta, which translates to Around the World, a popular magazine on geography published since 1861, end quote. And sadly, as is too often the case in Soviet-era close encounter reports, the trail grows cold, and we are left with more questions than answers regarding what could be one of the most unique cases in what is beyond a doubt the most significant flap in the history of ufology. But one can't help but wonder how many species lurking out there are looking down at Earth with a cautious eye, and perhaps just a bit of trepidation.
Oh, shit. There it is, the blue behemoths. Now, what is super cool about this, and I know I got a soft spot in my heart for other Russian cases, but as you mentioned earlier, Varenish, large.
Yes.
These things aren't coming down looking like little grays, little wafy grays. Like, oh, hey, guys, what's going on? These things are behemoths.
Yes.
Hence the name of the episode. I really enjoy the fact that these are not your typical UFO pilots and, people aboard the ship. These things are coming down and you're like, what in the hell is going on?
Right.
They're so big. 13-foot tall, 80-foot ship. I want to know how this kid climbed the ladder. A ladder for an 18-foot dude?
You're right.
Is crazy.
The rungs have got to be spaced so far. I never even thought about that.
Russia, what I'm trying to say is that Russia gets all the dope aliens.
They get a lot of the dope aliens.
They're all cool.
They get a lot of the big
cool.
Europe in general gets a lot of big ones.
Yeah.
Like there's some good ones in Italy, not just Zanfretta, but a few others.
Zanfretta was one too. That was enormous as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hells.
So I do love that. I do. I mean, we always love now. At least mainstream ufology is starting to go. They're starting to break the Strieber paradigm.
Yes.
And they're starting to talk about Arcturians and tall whites and black whites. Or I'm sorry, black grays and fucking various Nordics again, which have always been a classic, I guess.
Yep.
I'm always kind of astounded though. Like I don't know if you ever watch the show UFO Witness. It's the dude from I think Factor Faked, the old FBI guy Ben something,
right?
And he's not bad, and it's also researcher and journalist Melissa Tittle or Tittle, who I think she was on the Hangar One program back in the day too. So they did their own show, a spinoff called Aliens Declassified. You can find that on like Discovery Plus, Travel Channel, wherever. And it's an interesting, breakdown of like different types of aliens and cases. And that was clearly supposed to be a show, but for some reason when Travel Channel picked it up, they just decided to make it season 2 of UFO Witness. The first season was all about Ben going and basically retracing all the steps and the people that were involved in the Tic Tac, Go Fast, Gimbal, all that stuff.
Right.
When that was all the rage. And so my long-winded point is this. The second season is basically a different series, and each episode is dealing with different eyewitnesses, and it's pretty interesting. And it breaks down a different branch of aliens. The mantis, the reptoids,
cool.
the Arcturians,
That's
the
dope.
tall whites, I think. I mean, I've seen it all. Of course, I have Discovery Plus because you get every paranormal show in the world on there. And I wish I could break it down a little bit better, but it is interesting to at least see them dabble into these alternate alien theories. But the way they all speak of it, this is where I guess I'm going, is I get a huge kick out of it. They're like, oh yes, there are these people and they're from Pleiades, and these people are from Sirius A, and these people are from the middle of the belt of Orion. I don't fucking really know. And it's like they talk about it like it's fact. We know all these things. They met with Eisenhower, they've been doing this and that.
Valiant
and it's like,
Thor,
I'm like, okay, so, and I understand confidence. I understand believing in what you think you know. Then all of that stuff is fine with me. But it's like, how the fuck? Like,
dude,
how do you know this? It's not like the former leader of the Israeli space program fucking sent out a chart telling you exactly who's really involved.
I think a lot of it, though, comes from the contactees.
Oh, yes, I'm sure that
so
it comes
they're
from
like,
that.
It's Marion, Wisconsin. She's like, oh, don't you know? And then she tells you about where the Pleiadians are located in the planet Palladium.
I felt like I was watching Fargo for a second there. That was a flawless, northern Midwest, Minnesota, fucking Wisconsin-esque accent. Well done.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think a lot of that information is, which is fine, I mean, if they are being contacted by people in whatever, Varga 23, that's cool. But I don't know, man, make it more well known.
But don't limit it though. That's the thing.
Not at all.
Because
not at all.
I mean, all right, sure. So let's do what we always do. This could be a lie.
Could be a lie. Could be a hoax. Could be a fake. He even thought to himself years later, he was like, did I have a fever dream? Did I hallucinate?
I'll say this for a fact. He didn't actually say that. That was me speculating when I said perhaps he even thought.
Oh, the writers.
You got to do
the
that.
freedom of a writer.
The freedom of a writer. But I'm not. I don't ever lie. I don't
Bobby
say.
America.
I don't say he thought something when I don't know it.
Right.
I always say
You're
likely,
speculating
perhaps,
that he
maybe,
quite possibly was like
perchance,
perchance,
mayhap,
mayhap in the midst of being out here in the field.
But you're right. I mean, who the fuck knows? So if it could be a lie, it could be a misrepresentation. It could be a confused kid. It could be, I don't know, some sort of a mental disorder that it may be even his later years that made him think he remembered this.
Yeah,
you have to, but even though you have to acknowledge that it's a possibility, we always are a kind of witness first pod. And try to take things at face value unless they are patently absurd. Now, I will say this for the record: Patrick Gross, who's just a phenomenal researcher, whose work I fucking have admired forever, who's one of the most fantastic resources. And again, just type in Patrick Gross UFO, and that's all you need to do. And you can look at one of the biggest, most wonderfully researched archives in UFO-dom. I just coined a phrase.
Nice.
But he thinks this is a hoax. But the thing is, what he's citing, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but why I don't fully agree is that he's saying he couldn't go back because he moved to Crimea and it was just like too far and he didn't want to go back to find it. He goes, but the next day he went back with people and he didn't find it. So right there he's caught in a lie. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's a lie. I mean, if you bury something, you probably want to conceal it for safekeeping, and maybe you don't want to dig it up in front of a bunch of eyewitnesses, especially people that are threatening you if you reveal anything about it. So if you suddenly say, but I've got evidence, that's not going to make your day go any better.
No,
so that to me is not confirmation.
Harder.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not confirmation of deceit.
No, I mean, given the time, so did he originally report this as a kid, or was it later on that he reported it?
Later on. That's another thing you have to weigh in.
Shit, yeah, well, all right.
Now, at that point, again, we don't know much about it, but Pugachev and Kuzovkin apparently met up with the guy, interviewed him. Yeah. All speculation on my part, I'm just assuming. And then eventually that research got published in Russia. Right. And then eventually let's see, who was it that was giving Albert Rosales, Anton Anfilov got a hold of the report, translated it, presented it to the the great Albert Rosales, who presented it to the Western world.
Unlike Varenish, which happened in front of everybody.
And instantly was reported, right, in the Pravda and a few other maybe...
The military was involved. They're like, yeah, no, this shit happened. Like, we were there. We saw shit. Right. So...
And that actually, I remember seeing that on the news back then. I mean, granted, it was a little throwaway blurb at the end of the half hour. It wasn't like considered like big serious news, like a little where the anchor chuckles. But I remember thinking, what the fuck? But they didn't even fully describe it. Oh, and back to the Varenish thing. What if those were these guys in fucking suits?
Oh,
they're super tall.
Yeah, super tall dudes.
I mean, one thing that kind of works against it is that Varenish had notoriously tiny heads.
Yeah, they did. Well, they look like a juggernaut helmet, sort of. Yeah,
and it depends on how you see it drawn. Style. Sometimes it goes up big,
right,
and sometimes it's just a little tiny, like a little
tiny thing, little tiny head. Yeah, no,
and they had little computer devices on their chest, and they're fucking hella tall.
Yeah, but dude, like I was talking about earlier, man, Rush, you got two super cool alien sightings of behemoth-sized folk, big space people. Big people from space.
Love the Giants.
Love them. Absolutely love them.
Blue skin, love it.
Beards. Beards. Got beards. Come on. I mean,
long faces, big round eyes.
Also, too, wand weapon, right? Some kind of beam weapon.
Some kind of beam weapon.
I'm assuming it's a tube.
Let's assume.
Let's assume it's
a tube. That's just the standard one.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, everything with this, as far as details, this is kind of like the weird metallic overalls. It's down to like, yes, this is what people experience when they see these. Well, or again, if it's a hoax, and maybe these are just the details that they end up making up.
Well, that's the terrible,
which unfortunately
paradox.
Is,
What makes for compelling reality also makes for convenient lies.
I mean, again, I guess it goes down to the normal, ask yourself the question, what does he stand to gain?
And nothing seems to be the case.
I mean, maybe a little bit of notoriety after the fact, but like not really, because what are you going to do, man?
And how much? I mean,
yeah, what do you? I mean, you're
this
no
is
one's going
obscure.
on. What are you going to go do? Sci-fi conventions and sign an 8x10 black and white for $10?
And he was fucking 71 back in 90.
Exactly.
So
it's not
if
like
he's
you're
still around, well, no, he can't be, can he? I don't know. I can't do math.
I don't think
if
so.
If he is, he's old as shit.
yeah, dude's dust, basically, or turning into it. I don't really see what he would stand to gain. Also, too, I thought to myself briefly, like, could he have misinterpreted something?
How, though?
You can't. That's the thing.
That's just too much.
Even if this was a military exercise, of what?
Yeah.
Of what? What kind of weird psyop is this?
No.
Again, nobody stands to gain. Even if this was something put on by, I don't know, the U.S. to get in there and kind of like sow some seeds of dissent or whatever. It's like, let's make them think that, maybe there's something out there. This is way too over the top.
Oh, and too expensive.
Oh, my
and
God.
Too
And
extravagant.
It's ridiculous.
And involving technology that they couldn't possibly have had in 1947.
Exactly.
And to what end?
Yeah, to freak out a herder.
Yeah, one guy.
Yeah, one dude, just freak him out.
And his horse.
And be like, well, now the village will fall.
His terrifying, horrible
Poor
horse.
Serco, dude. Serco's just hanging out and just not even know what's going on.
So what we're left with is either it's alive, boom, there,
Right.
gone.
Yep.
Diabetes,
Diabetes.
right there.
Always there.
The devil, boom.
The
All right, so
devil.
those three always on the table. Or
It happened.
a spacecraft. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, one of the legends about Roswell is that craft was struck by lightning, and you see that all through UFO lore, where one of the things that can fuck them up. I mean, they can travel all through these places, enter wormholes, do this and that, fucking faster than light speed, but a bolt of lightning will fuck you up. And so they get struck by lightning, has to land. One of the kids panics. Dad shouts. Could have been a family on vacation for all we know when I think about it, with the mom still inside doing shit, the dad outside, the twins fucking needing to fix the ship. It could have been like Irwin Allen's Lost in Space in reverse, except the fucking not being humans lost on other planets, but fucking alien family that gets stuck there. And they're just dealing with their shit, and they spend all night and they finally fix it. They're nice enough to the kid, but once he goes in the ship and fucking gets sick, they're like, I don't want anything to do with this motherfucker.
Yeah, like this kid.
Like, we're going to get sued. I
like,
fucking know.
Dude, this kid can't hang.
Space malpractice is not going to be a thing. We're not even insured for this shit. I can't believe you let him aboard, Bill.
God.
Sorry, Terry.
You saw the horse. You know how we feel about horses. How dare you? And like,
you let a horse rider in our home?
But then years later, they get back in touch with him.
Yeah, that's odd.
Which is like, all right, well, what's the? I'm
and
not
they're pissed
sure.
about people now. Like the
Yeah,
guy seemed to be really
angry.
nice.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he only talked to that one guy, but he was, sure, he's stern and fatherly and fucking, a leader type, but he seemed pretty sweet to the kid, especially once the kid offered him food.
Yeah,
and was and whatever. What happened along the way where he's like? And we don't know. Maybe the voice was that dude still.
I mean, it sounds like
or maybe somebody knew.
He got like old and jaded. Where
Yeah,
he's
like,
you don't
fuck
even
you
know,
guys.
man, or lost all kinds of shit, and you don't know the struggle. Like it just got kind of dark out of nowhere. The whole vegetarian thing. All right, fine. They're like, oh, you guys, eat other life forms or whatever. Like,
he didn't actually say that though. Again,
no,
speculation on my part.
I
But
know, but and of course he gives him the speech.
Why don't humans contact those in an insane asylum?
Yeah, he's just like, you guys are just crazy little hairless monkeys down here blowing each other up and killing for no reason.
Tiny little pale fucking things. Nice beards sometimes.
I understand, but it's like.
And I guess if you live on the moon and you're stuck in a little dome city and you see these fucking people down here that have all these beautiful resources, and obviously it's a planet that unless they have some sort of invisible environmental protection suit going on, kind of like contact lens, you can't see it and covers their face and it enables them to breathe the air or whatever.
Right.
They are compatible with this planet. So for whatever reason, they're not going to take over. They're not going to do that or can't or it's against their fucking species moral code. But they see us just destroying the environment, eating other life forms, constantly going to war, never getting better about it. And in the time between the end of the Great War, the Second Great War, fucking how much more carnage and bloodshed and wars took place.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the same scale, but en masse, when you add it all together, still pretty fucking, an atrocity.
Right.
I could see an alien race, especially a civilized one, that's trying to like get along with their environment and doesn't eat other living things, being like, fuck you guys. fuck you. Humans suck. You guys are crazy. Why the fuck don't we talk to you? Because look at you. Yeah. You're a shit show.
Yeah. I mean, they're not wrong.
Right.
But, like, yeah, if you're just going to come down and be super condescending, just be like, oh, we've been watching you guys. You know, we see what you guys do. And, oh, yeah, it's talking to someone in an insane asylum, like, whatever. Like, all right, space dick.
Yeah.
Like, really? You're just going to come in and be a douche to everybody?
Big
like,
blue space dicks.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you'd think it would be a situation where they're like, no, we want to teach. We want to reach out and lend you a hand, our little tiny space brothers, and, you know, get you to where you got to be spiritually and emotionally and technology-wise, and do all kinds of fun stuff, and let's do intergalactic yoga and kumbaya across the world and all this shit. But nope, they just come down, they're like, nah, you guys ain't no good.
Well, here's the thing.
Back to the moon.
In all fairness, I like what you're saying on paper. It reads really well. How many human beings are really going to be receptive to that? How many human beings are going to meditate? How many human beings aren't going to loathe you because you look different? You speak differently.
Right.
They're afraid of you because you have high technology, but they also feel better than you because they're sure Jesus made them special and God made them in their image, and you guys are fucking the spawn of Satan at worst and at best, and inferior, though technically superior in every way, species from a liar's planet. Like, most human beings, I shouldn't say most, I'm more optimistic than that. A lot of human beings are dumb as fuck. I mean, you know, I hate to call individuals out, but anyone that's still waiting for JFK Jr. to come back from the dead and lead their revolution. I can see where Big Blue would be very, very reticent to speak to them and the rest of us because of it.
I think they're still there in Daily Plaza waiting for it. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, you know, but again, this is kind of along the same lines of the alien interactions where they, you know, they give you this speech, you know, the road's hard, you know, you're not going to make a kid, and then they just kind of fuck off into hell, and there you go. We're just kind of left with it. I think, personally, I don't really see a reason for him to go through all of this reporting and doing all this stuff. You're not going to get anything. I think he experienced something. Could it have been a hallucination or maybe a fever or something? Sure. But I do believe that he believes he experienced something.
I think so, too.
He has a lot of really pretty tight details in there that you know.
And a lot of unnecessarily dumb things. Like, why mention that one of them was crying and mumbling and needed to be shouted at?
Yeah, that's weird.
Why bring up a lot of the weird little things that don't seem to matter? Doesn't enhance your story. Doesn't make you more of a hero.
Yeah. No,
you walk into the ship, you
details.
instantly pass out.
Yeah.
Then they leave you on the ground and don't talk to you ever again. Like, if you were going to be the hero of your own fantasy, then they're like,
it'd be way cooler than that.
Yeah, that's why, even though I'm not saying that aliens, either because they're complete dickholes or maybe because they really have some bizarre hidden agenda, when they tell people that fucking you're special and you have to send this message to the world and you have to tell them all that there's environmental disasters are happening and you got to get to the president and tell the people that they really have to start, like you were saying, kumbayaing it the fuck up. Like I say, either aliens are dicks and playing pranks, or someone is the hero of their own fantasy.
Yeah.
Or, like I say, a very small chance that these people actually are supposed to be the new prophets, and eventually there'll be chapters of the Neo-Bible of 3038 fucking celebrating them.
There's a couple of weird YouTube folks like that.
Right.
They're like, yeah, no, the aliens came and told me this, and they got, like, followers and shit.
Right.
Like, it's real sketchy.
So all of that is an option, but this guy is not the hero of his own story.
No, not at all, man. He just kind of shows up.
Almost puked, fucking gets manhandled around.
Yeah.
They're scared of horses. He just sits around. He buries the one fucking piece of proof he has and then goes about his fucking life.
He watches a wolf get vaporized.
Oh.
I mean, there you go. He does get to go on the ship. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know?
But what I really am fascinated by about this case is the context of the time.
Yeah.
To happen basically,
yeah.
you know, in between, you know, the two hallmark cases in ufology.
Yeah.
Even on the other side of the world, if it did happen, and indeed if Roswell and Maury Island and fucking Kenneth Arnold's happened the way they expressed it, there was something very unique about the summer of 1947. And, you know, a lot of that could be literally and figuratively the fallout from the first atomic blasts.
I love that theory.
But whatever the case, you know, it deserves to be mentioned in the same conversation, if only because of the chronology.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. There you have it. The Blue Behemoths, a Kazakh encounter. Robert, thank you so very much. And yes, it's kind of funny that I came across the same story the same week.
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like
so
crossed
weird.
paths, which is super weird. So, yeah, no, so there it is. Thank you all so very much for joining us. And thank you all so very much for listening every week and the support and everything. It's It's so dope. The Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks were out there and the socials. We're doing it. As mentioned at the top of the show, CryptonautMerch.com. Get yourself some of that merch over there. We also still have HellerSpace.com, which is TeePublic. But again, all the new merch moving forward for the foreseeable future will be put over there at Cryptonaut Merch as a crowd-made exclusive. Patreon, we offer it. Thank you to everyone that supports us at patreon.com/CryptonautPodcast.
Oh, hell yes.
That $1 gets you the shout-out and one bonus audio. That $5 gets you the shout-out and no more than 4, but sometimes 5, depending on the month, bonus
And
audios.
occasionally 7.
Depending on how many Sundays we got, man. That's how many you're going to be there. And occasionally we toss a few out there. And recently we've been hitting up the video stuff over there at YouTube. Holy shit, is it fun.
Yeah, it is.
The video stuff's super cool. Check that out, youtube.com/CryptonautPodcast. We've been getting a pretty good reception, actually, from YouTube, which is kind of cool. Like, our channel numbers and shit, like, jumped, like, drastically.
That's great.
Where I was like, oh, goddamn, look at that. Check that out.
No, it's really fun. I mean, after all the toying with technology and lighting and getting all the technical stuff right, and then, like, kind of stretching our legs and trying to figure out fucking what we're doing.
Yeah,
it seems
man.
like we finally hit the stride.
Yeah, we're definitely got ourselves a good little, some good momentum over there. So again, be sure to check that out. And if there's any videos or anything that you want us to react to, and we just did one actually from a listener, feel free to email it to cryptonautpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have one you find or one that you've actually filmed, send it. And if we use it, we'll obviously give you a shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
And we really appreciate it because obviously there's a whole world of stuff, but the things you guys want to see are the stuff we're interested in doing.
Yeah, you guys are our viewers, so let us know what you would like to see. We appreciate that. And yeah, there you have it. Thank you all so very much. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Chris is going to be in better condition. We'll see how that's going to be going, but I'm pretty sure he'll be all right.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, there it is. Thank you all so very much, and we're talking to you soon.
Fucking A right.
I did a gun and say, I had a gun up like that. I was like, gun. Oh, maybe it's a shocker. Did I use the shocker?
Oh, my God.
I did.
That is definitely why the aliens won't talk to us.
Yeah, no, I know. Look at
shit
Mark.
like that.
His dumb hand signals.
You just fucked it up for all of us.
Yeah, no, I know. What are you going to do? We'll talk to you.